live earlier today and we were talking about Celeste and David, right? And TMC drops a video kind of the last 20 minutes of my live and we started reviewing it. I didn't have the time to fully review it and give you guys my thoughts, but I went to watch it again and I don't know how I feel about it. I still have a lot more thoughts about what TMZ is saying. It almost also to me seems there's a bit of backtracking to what they initially put out yesterday. We're Wednesday. Monday was one thing. Tuesday, we have this bombshell information. And then here we are on Wednesday where he's given us a theory, but also kind of backtracking or at least not fully saying that he could be the suspect. I don't know. But I figured we could slow this down and review it together. Let's go.
I want to talk about the mystery still in this David investigation. We broke the story yesterday that David is viewed as a suspect in the death of Celeste Rivas. The big mystery centers around something that we have now confirmed absolutely as true, that the LAPD has some tracking information.
Now they're saying, Harvey's saying that they confirm something to be absolutely true. Okay, 100% true. LAPD had some tracking information where they claim that David took this mysterious trip to a very close remote area of Santa Barbara County.
Where they claim that David took this mysterious trip to a very remote area of Santa Barbara County in the middle of the night in the spring of 2025. Now that is months before the body was discovered in Los Angeles in a trunk.
Spring months, think about it, that could be March, April, May, okay? Very specific months, right? Definitely weather changes and whatnot, okay?
I don't think it's hard to connect the dots. And he stayed there, by the way, for several hours.
We stayed in a remote area in Santa Barbara County for several hours.
Hard to connect the dots that one of the things they seem to be looking at is whether Celeste was killed then and he buried the body there or left the body there in some way.
We don't know out of those 3 months when that could have been. I think a lot of us could guess. There's a fantastic timeline on Reddit breaking this down, what David was doing in 2025, at least what's been tracked on social media, what he posted. I'm sure that there's probably areas in which he just didn't post, things that he left unsaid. But I want to go back a little bit because Harvey says here, I don't think it's hard to connect the dots. That one of the things they seem to be looking at is whether Celeste was killed then and he buried the body there or left the body there in some way. If that is true, if that is correct, you go from doing that crime in Santa Barbara County, okay, leaving her there, where exactly, where, we don't know. Storing her body, okay, because to have gotten from that to then when she was found badly decomposed, you're talking about several months in between, guys. Several months in between. At some point, this would have been very difficult for people to do. One person, for several people to do. If you leave a body out in the elements, even in the freezer, there's going to be things that changes come to the body right away after rigor mortis, after all these things happen, the science of what happens to a body after it dies. Different things are going to happen.
If he did that, then the question would be, why would somebody, whether it would be him or somebody else, remove the body from Santa Barbara County, which is 100 miles away from LA, and bring it to Los Angeles?
If that happened, if she died in Santa Barbara County, was stored there, then they brought her to LA. I think for me, a criminal, or at least somebody that's trying to dispose of the body, they would have probably disposed of her right away. They wouldn't have taken the body to another location. That's what I'm thinking. Why would this body go from that location to then Los Angeles, where ultimately it was found?
And then put it and leave it in a trunk on a well-traveled street, only to be found after the car was abandoned. That's the part that doesn't make sense. And I think that's...
Well, did they want her to be found? And what I mean by they, I don't know whether it was David or Neo or whoever. Y'all throw in the names that you think, because it could be all kinds of people. Did they want her to be found?
At least what I'm hearing, that's something the LAPD is really looking at. But I believe they have a theory. I don't know what it is, but based on our information, they have some theory about if the body was buried in Santa Barbara County or left in Santa Barbara County in some remote area, how it came back to Los Angeles. And that may also explain why we are told the LAPD believes that David would have had help.
Okay, let me stop right here. There was a month that was identified in the Reddit. Apparently, a month where there was a lot of detailing to his car. Okay. Sometime in the month of February, this is what Jeannie the Ween captured that sometime in February 23rd, David takes a Tesla or the Tesla to the dealer. And then on that same day, the 23rd, D4VD cleaning shoes looking similar to Celeste TikTok video. And then you have on the 26th and 27th of February, D4VD black Tesla ticketed twice for parking in a residential area. Why did he leave the car on the road for 3 days after getting it detailed? Again, this is not really the springtime, but I guess this would be a time frame. We just don't know if that's the time frame. Okay. If they're saying that she died or that she was K'd after in the springtime, that would have been what? March, April, May. Just staying consistent with the time frame. Let's keep going.
I don't know whether that help would be taking the body from Santa Barbara back to LA. I don't know. But that.
What would that look like? But not only that, who helped store the body in Santa Barbara County? Somebody was keeping her. And again, I don't know what the condition was. She in decomposition then and then brought to Los Angeles, and then they said we're going to leave her in the trunk and then let it be? What happened exactly? Because again, they said badly decomposed. She could have been stored somewhere over there. We don't know where. And then she could have been decomposing from the time that she was allegedly murdered to then found. That's a lot of time in between.
Is the logical way of connecting the dots. I'm also told that logic is not a big part of this case because a lot of it doesn't make sense in terms of everything that happened. But based on this Santa Barbara trip, it seems that the LAPD's operative theory is that Celeste was killed in the spring of 2025. The body not discovered until around September of that year, of this year.
That is crazy, guys. Then her body was moved. Does he bring back the Tesla? Does he use a different car? What does that look like? Do people see this Tesla anymore after the springtime?
The other thing that's interesting is there has not been a formal cause of death determined by the medical examiner, nor has the LAPD received the toxicology report.
So this is what he's saying. I don't know if the LAPD is necessarily being forthcoming about, because they don't have to tell us, guys. They don't have to tell us anything. They don't have to say anything to us. They don't have to say anything to TMZ or anybody. This is what he is saying as insider information.
Say that this is a homicide and David is a suspect because they can't definitively say now that
Now hold up, because yesterday when they broke the news, they said it's not on paper. It's not on paper, but it looks like it's this. So is this still speculation? Like, is this a fact? What are we doing? And then you have the other outlet, which we talked about, Investigate NBC4, who has said something different, who apparently they spoke directly to another insider in the LAPD.
Medical examiner, nor has the LAPD received the toxicology report. So they can't say that this is a homicide and David is a suspect because they can't definitively say now that it's a homicide. Their operating theory, we know, is that it is a homicide, but
their operating theory, which is what they leaked out and apparently told TMZ, and then everybody's kind of saying it too, right? But we don't know.
Coroner, the medical examiner, has not said that yet, nor has the medical examiner delivered toxicology to LAPD. What I'm told is the relationship between the medical examiner's office and the LAPD is not the greatest because now we're 2.5 months in since the body.
They don't have a great relationship. Y'all, this is a murder, allegedly a homicide. The last thing I care about is whether these two get it. They need to figure it out, get it together. Okay. We can get the information and that it's processed and that if, this crime, there's a suspect, a homicide, that way we have justice for Celeste Rivas.
Body was discovered and still the LAPD doesn't know A, cause of death, B, what the toxicology shows. And what I'm told is this kind of underscores not a great relationship with the medical examiner is particularly cooperative with the LAPD. 2.5 months isn't unusual for a, and I hate to use the term, run-of-the-mill homicide case, but this is a very high-profile homicide case, and a lot of times that can be accelerated. It doesn't seem to be accelerated here. There is no formal determination of cause of death. There is no toxicology report. There is no formal label of suspect, because you can't call somebody a suspect until you know that it's a homicide. But again, we can tell you that investigators in robbery homicide are.
Wait. 4 minutes and 35 seconds. There is no formal label of suspect because you can't call somebody a suspect until you know it's a homicide. Yet you're saying that this is now viewed as a homicide, that David is viewed as a suspect. So I guess the word viewed versus suspect, interchangeable? I don't know.
Are viewing this as a homicide, and they are viewing David as the suspect. But again, we are told they believe he had help. So Santa Barbara seems to be a central part of this case, this trip to Santa Barbara, to be continued.
Well, who did he go to Santa Barbara with? Did he go by himself? Who was with them? And this trip is vital. I haven't seen anybody, especially with the shout out to the Redditors, but if he went to Santa Barbara, there's a photo out there that would have already been leaked, in my opinion. But it doesn't look like there's anything quite yet. I don't know, y'all. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I had to go back and review this one more time because I can't believe it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.